In this next set of analysis, we're going to be thinking about the profitability of both Ashley's Attic and Kadens Closet, and we're going to be comparing their profitability. So to compare their profitability, we're going to use a series of ratios. So gross margin percentage, operating income percentage, return on net sales, sometimes called the net profit margin ratio, and earnings per share. So some things to think about as we're assembling these calculations, or if you're trying to replicate these calculations on your own. First, based solely on these calculations, which company is more profitable? Why? And the second question to think about is which company generates more profits per share? So here, this is basically going to be what we're trying to fill out. So let's move to the spreadsheet. So we're going to start a new section here. So keep in mind that the first ratio that we're going to try to calculate is gross margin. It's not actually a ratio, but we're going to calculate gross margin percentage, which is a ratio. Let me fix the coloring here. So the gross margin percentage is going to be net sales minus COGS. So for Ashley's Attic, let's take sales minus COGS. So 383,000. Let's do the same thing for Kadens Closet. So sales minus COGS. Okay, now when we calculate the gross margin percentage, it's going to be this gross margin divided by net sales. So it looks like here, if we express this as a percentage, Ashley's Attic has about 42% gross margins, and Kadens Closet has about 39.6% or 40% gross margins. Okay, now let's look at operating income. So remember that operating income is going to be income from operations. So it's going to be this number on the income statement for each firm. So we can just pull that in. So here we can compute operating income percentage. Let me just expand the columns a little bit here. So this is going to be operating income divided by net sales. So here we see Ashley's Attic has operating income of approximately 7.5%, and Kadens Closet has operating income of approximately 9.6%. Next, we'll calculate return on net sales, sometimes called the net profit margin ratio. And this is going to be net income minus any preferred dividends divided by net sales. So let's take a look here. So let's take a look at net income. It doesn't look like either company has any preferred shares, so we can just ignore those. So let's take net income divided by net sales for Ashley's Attic. So Ashley's Attic return on net sales is just under 5%. For Kadens Closet, let's see what we observe. Kadens Closet return on net sales looks like is just above 6%. And finally, let's calculate earnings per share. So earnings per share is going to be net income minus any preferred dividends divided by average common shares outstanding. So for Ashley's Attic, we have net income. And we're going to divide that by shares outstanding. So it looks like shares didn't change here from year to year, so we're in good shape there. So it looks like for Ashley's Attic, it was $1.23, and for Kadens Closet, it was $1.40. So that rounds to about $1.41. So let's return back to the slides and take a look at what we observe. So when returning back to the slides, we see pretty similar. These are the calculations just expressed in tabular form. So remember the two questions that we're thinking about. Based solely on these calculations, which business is more profitable? Why? So it would appear here based on these calculations that Kadens Closet looks a little more profitable. So despite having slightly lower gross margins, they have much higher operating income percentage and a higher return on net sales. On a more profit per share basis, we also see that Kadens Closet appears to be generating a higher EPS. They have an earnings per share of $1.41 versus Ashley's Attic $1.23. So in the next video, we're going to dive deeper into each business's profitability. So take a minute and think about all of these ratios and what kind of insights we can derive from constructing them. And I'll see you in the next video.